Oh, you're live. It says I'm live. It says we've got 3 viewers. Are we on? Can't see what's going on here. What's going on? What's going on? Let me launch that. Right, we're on. Good evening, people. Sunday, the 9th of February. At 8 o'clock. 1 minute past. I'm just looking to see what's going on here. I'm not quite sure what's occurring. Hang on, let me just have a look at this. Oh, I don't know what's going on here. Okay, that. Right, let's come out of that. Let's go into here. What am I doing here? Come on, why are you not working? Save settings. Settings saved. Right, is that going to work now? Oh, I don't know. Well, we're on. Excellent connection. Yes, we're live on this lovely Sunday. Hi, Aaron. Yeah, things are pucker-ding, actually. Bit windy out there. Got outside today and did some work on the old digger. No, with the digger. You're live. Yes, I'm live. Yeah, we was doing some gardening today. We don't do things by halves around here. We was digging out vegetable plots, and I was using the digger because it makes sense. Right, what's going on here? That ain't. Oh, I don't know. Let's come out of that. Yes. So we was digging out the. Got that wall sorted. What, the wall behind me? Oh, the wall on the garage. Yeah, it looks like it's got some right proper old storms in the UK at the minute, from what I've seen on the news. It's been a bit blowy here today, but nothing like you're getting in the UK. You'll have to bear with me. I'm just still getting used to all this stuff at the minute. So many things I've got open, and yeah. So we was on the doing the vegetable garden today. So we was digging out some vegetable plots with the digger because don't fancy doing it with a fork. You got the machinery, use it. Oh, behind us. Yeah, it's sort of this room's on hold at the minute. The first priority at the moment is get the garage done. So when the weather is rubbish, I can at least get outside and still do some jobs in the garage. So hopefully this week, not tomorrow. The weather's rubbish tomorrow. Got physio. Tuesday, we've got the opticians. Now in the UK, you would just pop along to Specsavers and get your eyes tested. But oh no, not here in France. So I've heard some people say that waiting list to see the optician is 18 months. I don't think we waited that long, but it was last year we booked the appointment. So if it's nice weather after that, we're getting on with the garage, which will be nice. This year we are planting. Oh, what aren't we planting? We've already got the garlic in the ground. Yeah, garage is a priority. Also, what we're planting this year, we've got some chilies to do. all vegetables really. Try and be a bit self-sufficient, and we'll eat with the seasons, if you know what I mean. So through the summer it'll be salady stuff, and through the winter vegetables, that kind of thing. Another little job we got to do when it turns up is put a greenhouse up. We're going for a greenhouse, not a polytunnel. So that'll be another little job for outside. Get on the digger again, and hopefully it doesn't blow away in the wind. I've been a bit cheeky. Look, we got the Range Rover playlist going in the background. I don't know. Yeah, so this week, what have we been doing this week? What have we been doing this week? Did we do the panda video this week? Yeah, we did the panda versus Range Rover, didn't we? Yeah. And then yeah. So this past week we've done the, as you've all probably seen, the panda versus Range Rover video. The mighty panda. And what's getting this stream's bit rate? What's that all about? Is lower than recommended bit rate. Reckon you use a beat. Oh dear. Hang on, I might have to change some settings here. I don't know if I'm going to get booted off for this, so bear with me. Output. Right, let's try that, see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't cock the job up. Concrete. No, we're not putting a concrete base down. But we've got some ground anchors for the greenhouse. You get the base rail, which the greenhouse frame bolts onto. So we're going to ground anchor the base down. I'm going to dig it into the ground so it sits down. Yeah, it does seem fine. It's just flashed up on my thing that the bit rate's a bit low, and it's recommending I don't understand all that. But I've changed it, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, we're going to be sinking the base down into the ground a little bit, ground anchoring it in. I've got about 8 ground anchors, which are over half a metre long, I think. Screw them into the ground, bolt the base down, and just have a dirt floor in there. That's the plan. Polycarbonate greenhouse. We had one at the old house. And yeah, just hope it doesn't blow away in the wind. Oh, it says I've got excellent connection now, so I'll leave it as it is, and we'll see how it goes. Yeah, so this week, as I said, we did the Panda versus Range Rover video, which was quite surprising. I don't know if you've all seen the video. I knew the Panda was quite good, but it did surprise me a little bit, actually, how good it was. I mean, our little off-road course isn't too extreme round the garden, but yeah, no, it's all good stuff. And then the other video we did was growing some mushrooms. Well, not growing them, but starting them off in logs. see what's going on here. Oh dear, what's going on here? There we go. Mushroom dowels. They were. I went for the pro ones. They did some ordinary ones, and they did what they called the pro ones. I think they were about 20 something pound for 400 dowels. How do I intend to make a living? Well, see, at the moment, we're on the old disability, which keeps us ticking over. But we'll have to see what happens with that, with the you-know-what that's just happened. Hopefully it doesn't cock the job up, and we'll be all hunky. Oh, God, what's going on here? Moving everything about. Yeah, I mean, before, I've been out here for... This will be my 11th year in France. I'll say we had a garden and landscaping business, which was quite busy. So there was me and Tina used to come along. She was registered for doing the same job. So we used to go cutting grass and all that. There's nothing wrong with that wiring. Oh dear. The idea is that we're going to have a stud wall up there. The computer's going on that wall. And we're going to have some spotlights up there just pointing down. But Tina wanted to get up in the loft and insulate it, so we got Dad to drop the wire down. So that's all ready for when we put that wall up. Are you both fluent in French? No. Tina is. I don't know why. Whether it's because I got shit for brains or what, I don't know. But if they get talking to me really fast, like they normally do, my mind just goes blank. But I can get. I know enough to get by. I can go and when we was working, I used to go and order parts for the machinery and stuff and all that, and I could go and do that on my own, no problem at all. If it's a subject that I know something about, I obviously know the words and I can converse and you can get by. I can't really have I can't have a conversation because the French are quite like the Brits. All they talk about is the weather, what's growing in their garden, and the weather, and how bad the weather is. It's always bad. But yeah, Tina's pretty fluent, but she did it at school for 6 years. I did it for 1 year, and we spent the year taking the piss out of the French teacher. So that wasn't really a very good footing in the language. But so when I was in hospital, the doctors used to come in the room, and I knew exactly what they were saying. They'd ask me a question, and I'd go, oh? But yeah, so I'm not fluent, Tina is. think I've got this working all right now. It was having a bit of a moment before. And my computer runs hot for some reason when I start streaming, which is if you can hear a whirring noise, I've had to crank the fan up in the computer. I don't know if it's coming through or not. We'll see. But it's all working at the moment. So yeah, you'll have to excuse the decorating. It's not been done yet, as I said last week. We've not had, we've not done any in a week. Yeah. Our French teacher at our first school, she was really skinny, probably anorexic, but she had these really big lips, so we used to call her rubber lips. You know, like nasty little kids do. You know, take the piss out of your teacher, especially when they're not very sort of, I don't know, you can sort of get away with it with some teachers. Oh, good. So, blaring the old fan noise in here, but oh, it's dropped down now. I changed schools after the first year at secondary school, and at the next school we did German, and he was a Polish bloke, and he used to walk. Well, we used to call him Pigeon because he used to walk like a pigeon, sort of like. You know what kids are like. Got to take the piss, haven't they? Finding subject matter for your videos must be a pain. Well, it is and it isn't. I mean, I video stuff that I find interesting that we get up to. But obviously the Range Rover videos do really well. The Panda videos are doing quite well. And any other video that we do doesn't do very well. But I've had people comment saying that they love the variety of videos that we're putting out. So I'll just keep doing it. You know, we've got a lot of Range Rover and Panda videos coming up. So we take the rough with the smooth. No, she's online shopping. Where did you live in the UK? Well, started off in Kent, born in Gravesend. That's not a great thing to advertise, but anyway, moved up to Lincolnshire when I was about 7, 8. So I lived in Lincolnshire for quite a few years. I moved to Cambridge for a couple of years, moved back home, moved to Peterborough, ended up getting married, then splitting up, and then out to France, basically. So that's where I have been, all about, roundabout. But I've seen quite a lot of the country. I was out on the road, recovery driver. So got to see quite a bit of the country. No doubt, wherever you are, I've been there. At stupid o'clock in the morning, dropping someone off. Get a 4x4 TDV8. I looked at the 4x4 TDV8s before we got the 3.6. We got the TD6 in the UK. It was sight unseen. I bought it off eBay. Took a bit of a chance. My sister drove it out here, and it was fantastic. And it was fine for a year, and then the torque converter started playing up. But then when we was going to get the 3.6, I was looking at them, and in France, I didn't want to go back to the UK because we was obviously spending a bit more money on a decent car. Didn't want to go back to the UK with all that hassle and then having to bring it over here and then import it. And in France, second-hand cars are a fortune. And the difference between the the 3.6 and a 4.4, it was 6,000 to 8,000, something like that. So, but at the end of the day, I thought, well, the 4.4, obviously a bit more powerful, and maybe a bit more refined. I mean, it's got the better gearbox, the 8-speed gearbox, but it was just a bit too much money. And the 3.6 we've got, it was lower mileage, full service history, and I'm quite happy with it. And I think it's almost as powerful as a 4x4 now. It's been remapped, or not far off. I think they said it was about 310 horsepower with a remap and the bits that we'd had done to it. It's not been on a dyno, so it's only what they've advertised, but it is a hell of a lot more powerful. I'll give it that. Flipping heck, goes like shit off the stick. Lovely jubbly. What's going on? Oh, 10 viewers on at a minute. I've got a video playing over my shoulder. Let's see what that is. Oh, that's putting the towing electrics on the TD6. Mix in the house. There's your mate, Tina. Yeah. And what about Brexit? How does that affect you? Well, we don't know. L322s have a terrible reputation. I was saying this the other day. They have got a bit of a terrible reputation, but if you go on the forums, you'll see 10 to 20 people that have had problems with their L322s. Out of all the hundreds, maybe thousands that they've sold worldwide, I think that's, it's like any car. You go on the forum and, Toyota, they'll say, oh, it's done this and it's done that. And oh, Christ, thank God for that. She's finished spending money. Yeah, so about Brexit, we're not quite sure what's going to happen at the minute. Depends on what sort of deal they come up with, because obviously if the UK government don't... what am I going to say? If they don't keep the rights for French citizens living in the UK, then I think the French will be arses about it and stop our rights as well. But we really don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I'm on disability benefit. We're not sure who pays that, because I was living and working over here, paying my taxes into the French government. She needs a helmet for her panda. And also healthcare as well. We have what you call a carte vitale, and that basically pays for 70% of your healthcare, and then the other 30% you've got to either top it up yourself with an insurance, or if you're on a very low income, you can get help. So yeah, wait and see what happens at the end of this year. We'll just carry plodding along as we do, and worry about it when it happens. Hopefully it will stay the same, and so yeah, no point getting stressed about it, because we don't know what's going to happen yet. But yeah, we've had a P38. It was all right. Bit gutless. 2.5 diesel. BMW 6-cylinder. did what it was supposed to do, drove and air suspension all worked on it and everything, but finally gave up. It overheated a couple of times on the way home from work. Westminster's the best ever made. Oh, God. You've got Tina on here now. Look out. Hello, Alfie Dog. We're not safe now that Tina's here. Plant up more mushrooms. I did some more. When did we do them, Tina? Yesterday. The second lot? Yeah, yeah, we finished them off yesterday. And got them all in the woods. So we've still got some left over, but pardon me. We're going to try them in a bag indoors, see what happens. But yeah, I mean, ours overheated, and I've got it recovered home. And we was going to do a tug of war on the video, but Tina got down on the floor to look for a towing eye on the Panda, and she couldn't find one, or couldn't find it, and she wasn't too sure what we could attach it to. And I thought, and when she stood up, her knees were soaking, right through her jeans. I thought, I ain't getting on the floor. We'll do that another day. Oh God, I'll tell you what. We was going down the woods the other day to put the mushrooms in the woods, and I said, just go down there, turn around, and come back. Oh Christ, she had to go all round the bloody field, long way round, just to. She said, I thought you'd like to go for a bit of a drive. Not in this bleeding car. Christ, it'll have to be an extra large fat bastards racing suit for me. Christ. Listen to that, Tina, thank you. God, dearie me. Who let her out of a box tonight? Oh dear. I don't know. Got a sport for TDV8. Got the wind. Yeah, we got some wind here today. We ain't got it as bad as the UK. Tina, don't side with them. I'm feeling like a victim here. Yeah, treat them nice. Keep them serviced. That's the aim of the game. I must service ours this year. Does the Pan? It has got spare tyre. It's actually under the bonnet. I'm waiting for a comeback now on that one. Been sunbathing. Oh, we was outside, but I nearly got blown out of the digger. Fence is gone. Blimey. Brother-in-law on Facebook earlier, he took some pictures. He said, that's where the trampoline should be. He took another picture of the neighbour's garden. He said, that's where the trampoline is. He said he's going to wait for the weather to clear, the wind to die down. He's going to go and knock on next door and ask if he can have his trampoline back. Oh dear. Oh, I don't know. But so we did have a lot of strong winds earlier on in the year. Oh, was that in the last year? wasn't this year, was it? Oh, yeah. Yeah, thanks for that. 21 degrees in Spain. Pamper a Range Rover. Yes, you certainly do. Ought to give it a bit of a wash, actually. I don't think we've washed it since we've had it. What, on the new one? No, we've not washed the new car yet. What did you have for tea tonight? Well, tonight we had... I was going to say second-hand lasagna then, but it's not second-hand. I made a lasagna last night, and it was a bit large. So we had half of it yesterday and had half of it tonight. So Tina didn't cook for 2 days in a bloody row. Oh, yes. Tina made the pasta. Homemade pasta. Very nice. Yeah, I bought Tina a pasta making machine for Christmas. And she's put it to very good use, actually. We've had tagliatelles, spaghetti, haven't we? Lasagna sheets last night. Well, you don't understand why you're watching it. But I like it. Well, it's because we just talk nonsense, basically. Eh? Well, it was edible because the meat that we put on it was what I cooked. Was what I cooked? That's not very good English, is it? No. There's no need for that, Tina. He's not fluent in English either. But do you eat more French or British food? Well, French, basically. We do eat British food because we do have a parcel every now and again from the British Corner Shop.co or .com, whatever it is. And they're not too bad, actually, on postage. So every now and again, things that you can't get in France, like Paxo stuffing, Coleman's mustard, brown sauce, HP. Now, here's a question for you. What is brown sauce is the best? It's HP or Daddy's. For me, it's HP all the way. Sorry to derail the subject here, but anyway. So, but yeah, most of what we get up the French supermarket is just bleeding the same, innit? Yes, I'm fluent in that language. Yeah, so yeah, the pasta was edible after all that. Dairy milk. We can't get that over here, can we? No, we can't get dairy milk. We can't get Galaxy. HP. That's a 2 thumbs up. Yeah, so we got a British Corner Shop order before Christmas, and I had that was a bar of Galaxy, wasn't it? Yeah, bar of Galaxy this time. I think the time before I've had dairy milk occasionally, but we just get stuff from the British Corner Shop that you can't get, and you sort of, not that you miss, but things like piccalilli. I do like a bit of piccalilli on a cheese sandwich. That's very nice. What else do we get from Corner Shop? Is Tina shy? No, she's just small. Yes, she is small. That's why we call her the Hobbit. She's about 4'2". She'll tell you that she's 5'6.5". Brown sauce isn't wrong. Brown sauce is the best thing to put on a bacon butty. Yeah, when we lived at the other house, there was a place called Anglo Foods, which was all Iceland stuff. Occasional pork pie. Yeah, I got when Mum and Dad went back to the UK for Christmas. I got them to bring back some pork pie, Melton Mowbray pork pies, and Scotch eggs. Branston, can we get Branston over here? You can get Branston pickle, but frogs' legs and snails. Even the French don't eat frogs' legs and snails. They do, but if you speak to most French people, they and say, "Do you eat frogs' legs? Do you eat snails?" They go, "Oh no, 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 no." So it's like everything. How many people from the UK absolutely love jellied eels? You know, not many. I, for one, do not. So, yeah, Melton Mowbray, been there a few times. I think you got a fan, Tina. Well, you're hiding beneath the skirting boards. What else? What's that stuff the French eat? Cassoulet. Cassoulet. Which is like beans in like a tomatoey sauce. So it almost like baked beans, but nothing like really. And it's got lumps of meat and horrible crap in it. Oh dear. They do like eating stuff with a lot of fat and gristle and crap in it. Exercise. Now, shall I tell the honest story or the fictitious story? Well, I suppose I better be honest. Physio comes out once a week, so we do that. I have been standing up on the standing frame, and but I've not been going on the exercise bike because to get on the exercise bike, I've got like a draftsman's chair, which I can get on. Tina pulls the handle, and I push up on the wheelchair and something, lift it right up, and then I can get onto the push bike, onto the exercise bike. That same chair I used to get on the digger. Plus, I got on the tractor the other day, which the tractor is a compact tractor, ideally suited for hobbits. So we moved the seat back to unbolt the seat, move it back, and I actually got on it yesterday and cut some grass. Where did you live in the UK? Somebody else has already asked that, but I will tell you again. Born in Gravesend, Kent. Moved to Lincolnshire. Lived there for quite a few years. Moved to Cambridge for 2 years. Back home to Lincolnshire. Then moved to Peterborough. Out to France. Cassoulet's all right, but if it hasn't got all the rubbish, you can buy the cassoulet in a tin, which is just it's like beans with sausage and beans, which isn't too bad. And but the stuff that they do, like the special stuff, comes in a jar like that, and it's I'm in Lincolnshire. Whereabouts in Lincolnshire? And I will tell you if we were anywhere near. I need a tractor. 3 acres. Yeah, 3 acres. You need a tractor. We've got yellow belly. Yellow belly. We got 2.5 hectares, haven't we? Yeah, we've got 2.5 hectares. I don't know what that is in acres. What's that in acres? No, it's 5 and a bit. 5 and a bit. Spalding, not far, not far. We was near Spilsby. Grantham, yeah. Yellow belly. Only one of us out of our lots of yellow belly. It's my youngest sister. She was born in Pilgrim Hospital, Boston. So yeah, she was born there. None of us were. But it was quite strange moving to Lincolnshire from Kent. We went to the primary school. Basically, when we was in Kent, it was at the primary school. We had about 38, 40 kids in a class. We got up to Lincolnshire, little village primary school up the road. There was 38 pupils in the whole school. That was infants and juniors. And it's like, oh my God. And we went in to see the headmaster. I couldn't understand a word he was saying. Obviously, you picked it up and everything, but yeah, totally different accents. Yeah, you can keep your cassoulet. What's that other stuff? Farsi. Farsi is another one that the French love. It's like a very poor imitation of sausage meat. Yeah, there was... Although everyone's... Before we moved up to Lincolnshire, everyone's, oh, what you want to move up there for? It's all flat and boring and... Ooh. Well, I don't know if they'd ever heard of the Lincolnshire Wilds, but Spilsby is pretty much on the edge of the Lincolnshire Wilds, because when you get past Spilsby up towards Louth, and it's hills. Because I used to go to college at Louth on my little moped, my Honda MT5, and going up Dolby Hill, coming out of Partney. That was a first gear job. Laying flat on the tank, getting about 5 miles an hour, I think, if I was lucky. They've all had roast dinners tonight, Tina. Well, we was going to have a roast dinner, but we had all this lasagna left, and I said to Tina, let's just have that. Mick likes a bit of pork. No, we don't have applesauce, do we? No. Not very often. If we're going to have some, well, I think we just make our own, which is the best way. I think everything we do, well, not everything, but a lot of the stuff we do now, it's homemade, because it's just better, isn't it? You know what's in it. I'll do my pizza bases from scratch. Tina makes all the pasta. I don't like fishing. Sorry. I have been fishing quite a few times, but because I'm so crap at it, I don't really like it. They don't seem to get onto my hook. That's the trouble. Having said that, I went to the Maldives and we went sunset fishing, and all it was a bit of string wrapped round a lump of wood with a bloody dirty old hook on it, and in the middle of the boat was a big bucket of chopped up bait or whatever it was. Used to put a bit on the hook, throw it over the side, and yeah, all sorts of weird fish was coming. You know, you soon get something on one of those hooks. But I caught it was like a barracuda, but it was about that long. But it was putting up such a fight, the string was cutting into my hands. And they said, no, that's not coming on the boat. Oh, okay. So I don't know if they cut the line or did something, but any other fish that they was putting out, if they could eat it, it would come on the boat. And There's a young lad out there. He was on holiday with his grandparents, and he came with us. His grandparents stayed back on the island, and we went out on this fishing boat. And he pulled out a moray eel, and they wouldn't have that on the boat either. Shooting. I've done plenty of shooting. Tina's got a... Yes. I think my dad's got it at the minute. I've got an air rifle. It's a pump up one. It's a Benjamin Sheridan .20, which I think that's 5mm pellets. It's got a nice sight on it, but you've got to pump it up. It's on the website. It says anywhere between 3 and 15 pumps. So I got it to 28, and I said to Tina, "Yeah, I'll just have it. I've got it all set up for her. Yeah, I'll shoot this." So she puts it up to her thing, and then goes like that, pulls the trigger. She said she was worried about where the dog was. Well, you did ask where the dog was. Yeah, I've clay shooting, done that. We used to do a lot of shooting when I was in the Air Cadets. 2.2s, and we had air rifles for indoors. That was a really old-fashioned Air Cadet building. And you could take the partition walls out, and you'd have one long room sort of thing. We used to do target practice in there, but then we'd go off to an RAF base and we'd do proper shooting. And we used to use the L98, which was the manual version of the SA80, which was just as crap as the SA80. And there was another rifle we used to shoot, but that was just it was bolt action, but you had to put one in every time. Whereas with the L98, it had a magazine. Yeah, so done that. Done clay shooting. And other bits and pieces. But you can have a gun over here. And I think it's fairly easy to get a license for shotguns and stuff like that. But you either got to belong to what they call a Ball Trap Association, which that's clay shooting, or you have to join the SHAS, which is the hunt. I can't be bothered with either of those, to be honest. No, never found any war stuff in either of these houses. Have you found any war stuff, Tina? No, I don't think we have in the UK either. There was a lot of history in the house we had in Lincolnshire. But yeah, it was an old pub. Yes, they always jam. Yeah, they were pretty useless. Have you put the heating on? Oh, I thought I was getting warm. No, it's all right. Any speciality food? Is there any speciality foods around here? I'm trying to think now. Yeah. There's not really any speciality foods in this area. But, I mean, at certain times of the year, you'll have a SHAS meal, which when obviously all the hunt have finished their season, they all have a bit of a get-together. You can buy tickets and go along, and they just feed you all night long with what they've caught over the shooting season. Chips. Yeah, Burger King. That's a speciality. Chips. I fancy a nice portion of chips with curry sauce. I'm probably going to get some hate for that now. Got to have curry sauce. Eh? Who? Breast. Where's Breast, Tina? Well, no, it's there somewhere. Let me have a look on here. I'm hoping it doesn't upset the stream. Breast. It's in Brittany. No, in fact, I've never been to Brittany, to be honest. That is 6 hours and 47 minutes from here. Or you can actually get a plane from Limoges. Why is that 3 hours and 35 minutes? What sort of plane's that? Well, it's a direct line looking at this. It can't be 3.5 hours. It's only an hour and a bit to get to the UK. Yes, the man cave is progressing somewhat. Probably backwards, to be honest. This coming week, we're starting the garage. So once we can get the garage done, then we might be starting in here. But it'll be from Wednesday onwards, I think, the garage. Something like that. Yeah, no, I've never been to Brest. I've never been to Brittany, actually. Tina's been through it, apparently. Yeah, I don't know why that... Oh, it says it's got connecting flights. Change of airport. Doesn't say. Christ. Oh, that's a round trip. That'll be why. Limoges to Paris. And then Paris to Brest. No, not on the drums tonight because I've got too much stuff in front of them at the moment. Yeah, I ain't moving all that lot. I'll maybe try and do something on the next stream. I've got some leads actually. I should be able to plug the drums into the desk, but I don't know if that'll come through. But it doesn't matter. This microphone will pick up the drums in it. Oh no, I'd have to plug it into the amplifier to do that. Yeah, can't give you a tune on anything tonight. Looking for guitars, and I'll be a bit more... try and get a bit more set up for next time. I don't know, with these live streams, I might do it every month, or you'll have to let me know what you think, because I don't want to bore you all just sitting here talking absolute dribble. So if it...
You can waffle.
What do you mean I can waffle? So yeah, you'd have to let us know how often. I mean, if it did it once a month, we'd have probably more to talk about. But I'm open. You know, don't do anything on a Sunday night, so... I wonder what video's playing at the minute. It's a Range Rover one, that's for sure. Chickens. Why don't we get any chickens, Tina? No, I don't really want chickens. Twice a week. Christ. I'll scare everybody off, I think. Twice a week, live stream. Chickens. Trouble is, when we lived in Lincolnshire, we did all the animals. We had chickens, we had ducks, we had geese, we had goats, sheep, pigs, horses. Chickens just leave little bloody golf balls all over your lawn, don't they? And if you pen them in, it don't take long you got to move the pen because it all just turns to mud and horribleness. Plus, our neighbours up the road, who happen to be English, have got chickens and ducks, and every now and again they bring us quite a few eggs round. So, I don't know really about animals. It'd be nice. I think we would like pigs. We don't want goats, Tina. Bloody goats. They're a pain in the neck. They're good for eating stuff, but they're also good at getting out.
So are the dogs.
Yeah, dogs are good at getting out. Don't know why. Ludo has decided that he's going to try and get out all the time now. Gets under the fence, goes up into the woods, and that's it. He does come back, obviously. You need a big wedge of paper. Wedge of paper. You keep shuffling and tapping on the table. Oh yeah, I see what you mean. News broadcaster, not wadge. What's a wadge? Slang for something, I suppose. Wedge. It seems that it's all working all right now. I keep having a little light keep changing colour down here. Tells me that it's doing something, but I think it's all working. Oh, sounds like the kettle's on. Well done, Tina. You got a bacon sandwich to go with it? No answer. That'll be a no then. That's another thing you can't get in France. Proper bacon. They do silly little round things about like that. When you fry them up, they'll curl up and they're all right. It vaguely tastes like bacon. Growing any crops? Well, funny you should say that. Tina was on about growing some crops the other day. Who knows? We're going to plant. We've obviously got we did the vegetable plots today, or some of them. So we've got 3 vegetable beds out there now. We've got the greenhouse coming sometime. So we've got the greenhouse to put up, and then out the back of the garage we're going to plant all the load of fruit trees. So we've got a bit of a fruit tree orchard. And then we'll have to see how we go. Tina is desperate to keep bees, but I don't think we're going to do them this year. We've not got round to it. There's a place up the road actually that specialises in beekeeping, and she's been meaning to go up there and have a word with them, see what she needs to do and what's the best gear to get and this, that, and the other. Because we can put the bees just on the edge of the woods, so they're getting a bit of shade and they get a bit of sun and all that. We probably could put a plough on the tractor. It wouldn't be a very big one, but it'd be enough to turn it over. And I would think that we could probably put a small rotavator on it. It's a 16 horsepower tractor, which I'm not sure what the PTO horsepower will be, but if we got like quite a narrow rotavator. I did have a lovely rotavator. I had a Ferrari rotavator, 2-wheel tractor they call them. But I sold it. There you go. Diesel engine on that, electric start. It was a lovely bit of kit, but it was a bit too big for Tina to handle. I think at the old house, because we didn't have a lot of room at the old house, I think if she was to use it out in the field here, it would probably be all right, because I mean the thing just used to drive along on its own. It was quite a remarkable bit of machinery. So it was no, I was looking at flower mowers the other day to go on the back of the tractor, and all the cheap ones is the same bleeding make, Geo Agri, so we'll steer well clear of them. I think what I'm going to do with that mower is the engine on it is a copy of a Honda GX390, and they do a Lifan engine. And this one particular firm actually advertises it as a stronger replacement for the Chinese engines, which suffer with stuff vibrating and breaking off, basically. Yeah, so we'll have to see about that. I mean, I have heard about these Lifan engines, and a lot of reviews is quite good. Cost of land in France, I'm not sure.
Depends where you live.
And it depends. Agricultural land's quite cheap, isn't it?
Depends where you live. If you're on the coast of north, south, near the Alps.
Yeah, it's very regional, the price of land in France. You don't often see agricultural land advertised. It's obviously for sale at some points, but it's normally building plots, and the French now. You'll notice that a lot of French, if they're buying houses, they buy like these new bungalows. They're not interested in renovating old places.
Central France is quite cheap.
Thanks. Wave to the camera.
I'll come out from under the skirting board.
Yeah. She must have got quite close because she looked quite tall then.
I've got my high heels on.
It's camera trickery. I'm not sure. Yeah, 10,000 an acre. I'm not sure what it is over here. I'd have to look it up. Would you recommend living in France? I mean, I love living in France. I can't really speak the language properly. If you're coming over to work, we've got on well with all the French people we've ever met. And, we pay our taxes over here, do this, do that. A lot of it is like the UK used to be 30 years ago. They are a bit behind on a lot of things. Yeah. She's even smaller now. She's in the kitchen. She's about that big. Yeah, so, living in France is quite good. Fuel's a bit cheaper. It's still cheaper than the UK. Yeah, of course it is. Well, I don't know. How much is diesel at the minute?
Last time I looked, it was about 146.
Diesel at the moment is €1.46, which I'm not sure what that is in. Let me just do a little. 146. According to this, is £1.24. So I don't know what diesel is in the. It's full of French people. Yeah, but the majority of French people aren't like the stereotypical French people that you see with striped t-shirts and a beret and onions hanging around their neck. Or is it?
Some of them have garlic.
Yeah, it's garlic, isn't it? Not onions.
Or both.
They tend to look after their own. If you went for a job interview and you was British and there was a load of French, the French would get the job. I would say 9 times out of 10, unless you was properly qualified for it or whatever. But I mean, when I was playing in the band, we was playing a gig for this commune, and the French maire came up and said a bit. He said if it wasn't for the Brits coming over, he said the village would be dead. He said because it's the Brits that are coming over, renovating and spending the money, where the French just don't. They're not into all that. They rent. The majority of France are renters for a start, and yeah, seen a bit. Don't get lost in that long grass. So yeah, they look after their own to a certain extent, but you know, swings and roundabouts. Yeah, food is a little bit dearer over here because you don't get your buy one get one frees and all that kind of thing. But then it's like council tax. Tax foncière on this place we pay €410 a year. And there's tax habitation, but I'm exempt from that, and they're supposed to be stopping it anyway. Oh dear, here we go. I don't know. Yeah, we have made our own bread. We've got, Tina makes stuff by hand. We've got the bread maker, but it's so bloody cheap, bread. They've got like, and the bread's always the same price. It's sort of governed, I think, bread. So the price is always, it doesn't matter what bakers you go to, it's always the same. But having said that, I'm keeping off the bread at the moment. So, yeah. Trying to lose a bit of weight. Christmas wasn't kind. But yeah, we have a bread van come round. I've had a couple of bread vans, I think. Or I don't know if they're from the same bakery, but a couple of times a week the bread van comes round. We've never had anything off them. We'll start that. They'll be stopping every time they come past. Well, where are we? Oh, I've been on it for over an hour. Flipping heck. Oh, it's quite warm in here tonight. Yeah, they do go stale quite quick. Years ago, hang on a minute, get my voice back. Over at Mum and Dad's old house, when I first moved to France, I was living in with Mum and Dad, and we was doing. My dad's a builder, and we was doing some work for the bloke up the road who lived in the hamlet up the road, and we was doing up his little bread oven, and he said that it was a communal bread oven. He said once a month, all the women got together and had a whole day making bread. He said it was absolutely floor to ceiling bread in this little bread oven. It was quite a big bread oven. And he said the first week, the bread was all right. He says, but by the time you get to the third or fourth week, it was getting pretty hard. You couldn't eat it unless you had it with soup, you know. But things have changed a little bit since then. Yeah, he was a bit of a dodgy player, that bloke. I think he was about 80, 84. He used to drive around. I think he used to drive his car around like there was no other cars on the road. You know, you come up to his round a corner and he'd be right in the middle of the road. He'd go up into the town, park his car outside the mairie, just abandon it, get out of it, leave the door wide open, wander off, do whatever he's got to do, come back, get in the car and drive off again. I suppose he's been doing that for years and years. But there you go. He was also telling us when they had the storms, because they had the really bad storms in France in '99 and then in the late '80s, and where they lived, they couldn't get out. I'm sure he said it was 6 weeks. They was trying to, or no, they didn't have power for 6 weeks. That's right, and it took them a good while to get out because all the trees went down across the roads and. But yeah, back in the day. Didn't when you think about it, you say, "Oh, back in the '80s," you think, "Oh, that's not that long ago." Well, it bloody is. It's 30 odd years. Yeah. So this is out of date now. Made in 1977. 40 years of being awesome. Yeah, get yourself a Range Rover. You don't want to keep driving around in a bleeding old Peugeot. I don't know. If it's one of the old Peugeots, they keep going on forever, don't they? I don't know what that video is all about. Yes. I'll say we'll have to start doing some jobs on this here Panda soon. Get it all serviced up. And the trouble is, get all that done, she'll want to start using it. Which I ain't too worried about. Peugeot 206? That's a modern Peugeot. I can't think what the bloody... Was it a Peugeot 305, the Estates? They used to go on forever. I think it was a 305. What was that thing we had? I think that was a Peugeot. It was a Peugeot van. Peugeot J7, that's right. It was a 1974. It was a camper van, but we ripped all the stuff out. When you folded the bed down, you had to be about 4 foot tall to sleep in it. But oh yeah, I don't think she'll let me do that. She's waited 20 odd years to get another one. Yeah, the Peugeot J7, that was a front wheel drive van, which was probably quite a new thing when it came out. I mean, I don't know what year they came out, but so the one we had was a 1974, and that was 1.8 diesel. And then they brought out the J9, which I think had a 2.1 Peugeot diesel in it, and that had a 5-speed gearbox. because that was an option. We was going to see about putting the J9 engine in the J7, but when we sold the other house and we had to sort of start moving everything out, sod it, we ain't going to do anything with it, so we sold it. Sold it to a chap, and he was supposed to be fixing it up and driving it to Italy. Whether he ever did or not, I don't know. Trip to France once a year. I sort the bloody suspension out. There's something not quite right there somewhere. There's with the it's so hard. There's no giving it whatsoever. I know there's not a lot of weight in it, but even just driving around, I don't know. She drove it back from, where did we get it from? Malmort. This near Breve. Normandy. Booze Cruise. Is it worth doing booze cruises anymore? I know it is quite cheap over here, the old beer. And wine, to come to think of it. We have a nice bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon for €2.30, I believe, and it's actually very drinkable. Having said that, we used to get a bottle of wine out of, was it Aldi or Lidl's, for about 95 cents. That wasn't too bad, to be honest. When my brother lived over here, he used to go and buy a box of wine for about €5. And, it was awful. Absolutely rank. It was like bloody vinegar mixed with paint stripper. But once you'd had a couple of glasses, you know, it was all good. Pardon me. Usually over for D-Day. So, lots of questions about war stuff in houses, and you come over for D-Day. I assume you're a bit of a military buff. Used to have a Jeep. You can't help it. Nah, Jeeps are alright. No worse than a Land Rover. When you say Jeep, do you mean a proper Jeep? Or like a Willys Jeep or a Cherokee or something along those lines? Willys. 1943. Nice one. Everything breaks down. Doesn't matter what it is. I think Range Rovers have got a bit of an unfair thing, aren't they, really? Oh. An unfair reputation. Oh, yeah, everything breaks down. The stuff we used to pick up. And the more money you spend on a car, the more likely it is to break down. Yeah, we've had some proper expensive cars on the back of the trucks. Tow it directly behind the Land Rover. Oh, what, the Jeep? There's nothing wrong with the lights on the Range Rover. They're just on all the time. I must look at that. We're going to do that this week, and I'll video that and see if we can get to the bottom of it. Because I have updated the firmware on the diagnostic machine, so it might connect, it might not. We're going to disconnect the battery and try that, and then take it from there. See what else we can come up with. Yes. On an A-frame, yeah, we used to tow stuff on an A-frame when I worked. The very first garage I worked at, we had an A-frame. Because the old, obviously, old cars. This was early 90s. I was at that garage. So all the cars we were working on was sort of like, you know, 90 backwards. Which were easy to hook up onto the A-frame because they didn't have all these silly drop-down bumpers and easy to hook onto the bottom arms or wherever suspension was. But, we used to have a Morris Minor pickup. You had to be a bit careful because you had to on the A-frame. It used to push the arse end. You go around a corner. It used to push the arse end of the Morris Minor pickup outwards. You know, it got a bit hairy sometimes. But yeah, with the Panda, I don't really want to be out in it too often. It's not good for street cred. It's not good for a bad back, which my back's all right actually, but it's just not good all round, basically. But it did quite well on our little track. Yeah. If Tina was there, she's out with the dogs at the minute. She just takes the dogs around the field at this time of night so they can go and shake a leg. And yeah, if she was in here, she'd be commenting about how wonderful the Panda is. But I don't know. It's all right, but it's not my cup of tea whatsoever. I don't know if Mum and Dad are on tonight. Dad was on last week, and he was going to comment, tell me to get to bed. But I don't know whether he's on this week or not. If you are on, Dad, you've got to be logged in to leave a comment. Having said that, they watch it on the telly, so... Panda or Peugeot? That is a question. Well... Oh, I don't know. I've never really been a fan of Peugeots. It was obviously alright, easy to work on and stuff like that. But, no. I remember we used to have the couple of Peugeot 205 diesels come in, where one was a 1.9 and the other one was a 1.9 turbo diesel, and they were quite nippy for old diesels, you know, smoky old things. But no, I've never been a fan really. Never been a fan of any French car, to be honest. Although we have had a few. Oh, Dad had a brand new one, Renault 21. And not only the Renault 21, it was a Renault 21 Symphony. Ooh la la. We've had a couple of Renaults over here. We had the new shape Scenic. We had the Scenic RX4. Tina's had a... No, that was a Renault 19 diesel. I think that's it for Renaults and French cars. Yeah. Well, I've been waffling on for nearly an hour and a half. Goodness gracious. Time flies, doesn't it? Well, what have I done? Come back. Here we go. So, yeah, I've not really got much to talk about. Oh, yeah, as I said, next week, or this next coming week, we're going to hopefully get out and start that bleeding garage. And then we can get some materials ordered and get it all so we can concrete the floor. And then once that concrete floor's set, we can see how much room we got in there and how much room we're going to have for a lift. I want to get a 2-post lift in there. Yeah, we'll catch you soon, Alfie dog. What's your favourite soup flavour? Well, there's lots of them, isn't there? Oxtail, sometimes. Chicken and mushroom was quite nice. I did sort of go off soup a little bit. When I was in the hospital, I went off food altogether because I wasn't, I was rough as arseholes. And when I come out of the hospital, I was in the rehab centre and I was staying in there for a few months. And they used to dish up soup in there, and it was like bleeding dishwater. Now I can get a single phase lift, 2-post lift, single phase. Has to be Heinz. Yep, see you later, Aaron. Thanks for coming along. Heinz tomato soup. It's not bad. Potato and leek actually is quite a nice one. Mum makes a nice potato and leek soup. I think Tina's made that as well. Yeah. Trying to think now. Tina, she did have a soup maker, but it was a bloody disaster. I think all the soups we ever had out of it were awful. Are you there, Tina? Yeah. That's right, wasn't it? That soup maker was horrible.
Yeah, it wasn't. I think it was the recipes that were hopeless, but the soup maker wasn't any good. It just burnt out.
Yeah. Yeah, a lift will be a very good idea, because obviously working in garages, we've always had lifts, whether it be a 4-post lift or a 2-post lift. Since I've been over here, I've had to do stuff on the floor and scrabbling around on a gravel driveway, dropping nuts and bolts and... Yeah, I need to get some tools. Yeah. Well, all the time people are asking questions, I'll still be on. So, the plastic spanner must be giving you jip. Yeah. But the plastic spanner doesn't give me as much jip as Tina does.
You asked for it.
I've asked for what?
Legit.
No, I haven't. Renault Megane 2. I think that's what that one. Oh no, that was a Renault Scenic, wasn't it?
Yeah, that only ever had a Renault 19 and then Scenics.
Yeah, but when I think they first came out, they called it a Megane Scenic, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it changed to Scenic. Yeah, that was 2009, wasn't it? That one,
What one?
your mum's old one.
Yeah, 8 or 9.
Yeah, that's. Well, yes. Being a mechanic will be quite handy with a Panda. But what I'll have to do is, I was looking for a Les Robbers and Les Gangsters. I was looking for a manual for the Panda 4x4, but I can only find them for the 2-wheel drive version, which will be the same, apart from it hasn't got the 4-wheel drive system on it. No, I haven't got any tools. I've got a pair of mold grips, plastic spanner. I've got a hammer somewhere and a crowbar. You must have a crowbar. Everyone's got to have a crowbar. I'll use the crowbar to pry the skirting boards back so we can find Tina.
I've got a hole in every floor.
Yeah, well, it's easy in that room because the floorboards are all dropping where the floor joists have rotted and the floor's dropping. So she can hide in there quite nicely. Oh dear. This is true. Yeah. I was thinking about getting it online so that it wouldn't take up so much space, but I haven't got enough room on the hard drive for it. And I've got some external hard drives, but I don't want to fill them up with a manual for a Panda. Yeah, it would have been ideal because then you've only got to print off the page that you want or just have a quick look. But I haven't got the hard drive space for such a big manual because it's going to want fixing every week. Oh,
What?
he said, "Do you play Whack a Hobbit with the hammer?" That's a good idea, actually. I'll set up a board with holes in it, and she can keep popping her head up. Whack, whack. Yeah. We'll try that.
Oh, will we?
Yeah. We'll get a video on it.
I shall sort something out for Whack a Giant.
No, it's not the same, is it?
Well, it is when they're sat down.
Yeah, I would imagine so. He said the longest read he's ever read was Common Faults on a Panda.
Oh, yeah. Was it in Arabic?
No, in English.
No, Arabic as in old.
Oh. Well, pandas aren't that old. 1980, I think the first one was. Common Faults on a Panda. It doesn't start very well. But we've not serviced it yet, and we don't know when it's been last serviced. So I've got all the bits for the service, and that'll be a video coming along at some point. So we've got to get this garage done. Desperate to get this floor concreted, and then we can. Oh, but suppose you're coming online now, aren't you?
Well, I can do what? I was actually going to look for a Frodo costume.
I'm not sure. I think they're on the 3rd generation Panda now. Because the shape Tina's got went from 1980 up until you could still buy them in Italy, I believe, up until 1998. And then they brought out the new shape Panda in 2003, and I believe they've changed it again to in 2013. I could be wrong, but the shape that Tina's got, they had a couple of versions of it. They also did the Seat Marbella, which is exactly the same as a Panda, because Seat had a licensing agreement with Fiat, and when the licensing agreement with Fiat ran out, no, it was the Seat Panda, and when the licensing agreement ran out, they call it the Seat Marbella, I believe. I might have got it around my neck a little bit. But yeah, you could. I think you could still buy them in Italy right up until 98. That shape. Yeah, it has had a respray. But cars in France don't rust. Not like the UK. Whatever they put on the roads at winter time, it's not salt. I don't know what it is, but cars just don't rot like they do in the UK. Which is a good thing. God, look what's happened to me here. So, yeah, I mean, the new Range Rover we've got, it's still like it's brand new underneath. And it's not. It's 10 years old now. Towing capacity of the Fiat Panda... the Panda weighs 790 kilos. It can tow 325 kilos unbraked, but if you've got a brake trailer on it, it can tow up to 900 kilos. Garlic on the roads. Yes, I would imagine so. I came out to France I had a motorbike. I've had quite a few motorbikes, and I set off, and it was snow. I thought, oh, it's all right. We only live just up the road from the A1. I'll get on the A1 and it'll be clear. Well, it was clear, sort of a patch down the middle. And anyway, the roads were so bad going down to Dover that I missed the first ferry. This was years back when speedferries.com was still going, and they went from Dover to Boulogne, and they had a catamaran. So they only had one boat at the time, so you had to wait for it to come back. So I get on the next ferry. So that put me back a bit. Of course, you're on the boat for an hour, then you're an hour in front. And the time I got past Paris, it was 6 o'clock at night, pitch black. So, of course, it's absolutely freezing cold. And so I'm riding along like Derby and Joan on this bloody motorbike. You know, at the time, it was like one of the most powerful motorbikes going. Really worried about spinning the wheel and this, that, and the other. And but all I could see on the motorway was like it's glistening. And I thought, well, it looks pretty icy to it. Cars were coming flying past, but the stuff that they put on the roads, it actually twinkles in your headlights, and it looks like it's ice. So, of course, there's me going all the way down at 50 mile an hour. Minus 12 when I pulled into for fuel. My eyelashes were freezing together. But yeah, so I don't know what they put on the roads, but it's weird stuff. We have got some rear seats for the Panda, but I don't know if it's ever had rear seats in it, but it's registered as a van, which has got 2 seats in it. So if we was to put the rear seats in it and then take it for its CT, which is French equivalent of an MOT, then they would fail it because it's not what it says on the carte gris. And the carte gris is like your logbook. But to be honest, we probably won't put the seats in it, will we, Tina? No, she'll keep it like that. Probably might sound insulate it a little bit because it and half made a row in the back because it's just a tin box. But yeah, we'll get some sound deadening and some bits and pieces for it, and yeah. She. Have you had the dogs in it? I put Ludo in it the other day, but he was desperate to get out, wasn't he? Yeah, he didn't like it, Ludo. I said to Taylor, he's been spoilt. You see, he gets in the back of well, both of them. They get in the back of the Range Rover on the back seat, lording it up, basically. When we slow down for a village, we always put the windows down so they can have a sniff out the window. They've got it made, haven't they? Really, living it up. But yeah, they're not keen on the panda. Yeah. I don't think my life would be worth living if I did that. Putting a rag in the fuel filler cap and a match. No. No, on the panda. Oh dear. What's the eating set to? Is that what it is? It's 21. Flipping out. Is it still windy outside? Blowing a gale. Rain again tomorrow. Just what we need. Oh, looks like I'm doing something on the car over there. Talk settings. Yeah, pizza for the dogs. I know. They are pretty spoilt, actually, these two. I think they've sort of fell on their feet a little bit. I think we're the mugs. Yeah, they've got their own sofa in there. Well, it's not really for them, but they get up on the sofa. Then they get on the bed. Not on my bloody side, they don't. I'm not having none of that. Oh dear. But, yeah, but the little sods keep getting out. I don't know, Ludo's just got it in his head at the moment. But it's... See, I think they did have some pasta, didn't they? Yeah, they had a little bit of the old homemade pasta. Yeah, I think whatever we eat, they want a bit of it. Cheeky little sods. They don't get everything that we have, obviously. Anything a bit spicy. You don't want to be seeing that back end of that, do you? Oh, dear. My last dog, he used to suffer a little bit from that. Having said that, when we moved to France and I brought him out here with me, he seemed fine. But in the UK, he bloody shit through the eye of a needle. Vets they're not too expensive. How much was that last vets? Who went to the vets last? What was that for? Oh, how much was that? It was about 140, wasn't it? Yeah, the last vets thing we had, Ludo got stung by something. Not quite sure what it was. I was in bed actually, and Tina let the dogs out, and I heard him yelping. And anyway, didn't think anything of it. And Tina came in, wake me up a bit earlier than normal. She said, "Oh, we're gonna have to get you up because I've got to go to the vets with the dog." I thought, what's bloody happened then? Anyway, she said, oh, his face is all swollen up. Anyway, I went in there and he looked like a different dog. He looked like they're Shar-Peis. His face was all like swollen up and really, really weird looking. So anyway, she took him to the vets. All his injections and that, and the consultation was 140, but the consultations afterwards were all free of charge, so you sort of pay it all up front. Yeah, they're normally pretty good. Tina did that actually last year. They've got a little swimming pool outside. I was suffering a little bit last summer. I've got to speak to the doctor about it actually, because it seems to happen when I get hot. My blood pressure just goes. Because last night I was doing something, and I was getting really hot because I was messing about with the oven and stuff like that. And I thought, I don't know, I thought I feel a bit dodgy here, so I thought, check my blood pressure, and it had dropped right down. I cooled down, and I was right as rain. So that's what was happening last year. So while I was suffering a little bit, I think I was lying on the bed or doing something, Tina went out on the digger. First time she's ever been on the digger. Dug him a hole, lined it out with a tarpaulin, filled it up with water. Job's a good one. They were both straight in there, loving it. But, I think we're going to extend it a little bit this year. See what happens. Be nice to put a swimming pool in for ourselves, but that's not on the top of the priority list at the moment. Yes. Yeah, we've got an oven in the kitchen, like a built-in one. Obviously, Tina's got like a range cooker with all the ovens in it and that. I've got one that's in the unit, a nice height for me. But when you've got the oven on, the fan blows out across the room. It didn't half get hot. Of course, we got the table right in front of it. So, yes. Yeah, we've got to speak to the doctor about why that's happening, because I don't want to be going through this summer doing all that business again. It's only happened since I've been on these pills. When we spoke to the doctor that came out, we had a different doctor that had to come out because our doctor broke her leg, so she wasn't doing house visits. So a different doctor came out, and we asked him about the pills and whether that. He said, "Oh no, it won't cause that." But it's only happened since I've been on those pills. So when our doctor comes out next time, we shall quiz her. And my dad wants to put a swimming pool in himself. I think I've got to take the digger over there and dig out. I think I think he wants to get it done at some point. I know he's got a greenhouse to put up as well, so. Yeah, so I think he'll be pretty busy sorting their place out. I think they'd like to get a swimming pool in for the summer for when the grandchildren come over. Yeah, we was going to put one in, but we've got other things that are a bit more of a priority now. Like get the garage done and other bits and pieces. Get this room done, and get that room in there done. Finish the kitchen as well. But we was talking about that earlier, actually. That's some little jobs that we can do ourselves. And then get this room decorated. That'd be nice. Get rid of this bleeding wallpaper. God. Crowdfunding page for a swimming pool. No, it was pretty weird last year. I don't know what was going on. Just when I got hot, I'd go out there and I'd get hot, and I'd just go all dizzy, nausea, feel all faint, and then throw up, and then quickly scurry off back indoors and try and cool down, sit in front of the fan. But the year before, when I wasn't on the pills, I was going out into the greenhouse, and on the patio it was 40 plus degrees, and going in the greenhouse was even hotter, and it wasn't bothering me at all. So it's got to be something to do with these pills. But so we asked the one doctor, and he said, "Oh no, that won't cause that." He said, "It sounds like your blood pressure's dropping." Of course, when I looked up, why is the heat causing my blood pressure to drop? Obviously, one of the big things is dehydration, but then it says if you're on medication for your heart, which I'm on, what they call beta blockers, slows your heart rate down, which is obviously supposed to lower your blood pressure, because obviously what's gone on inside and what they've changed and bits and pieces. 500 a month, bloody hell! I don't think we pay that a year. But yeah, so it said that heart medication and then diabetes medication, which they put me on diabetes medication because I was getting close to being diabetic. But I had a blood test a couple of weeks ago, and all my numbers regarding blood sugars and stuff is all right down. So being pretty careful what we eat as well now. Not a lot of sweet stuff, but the diabetic medication can cause problems with the heat and your blood pressure dropping as well. So I've got to talk to the doctor, see what she says. I don't mind the heat, but when it makes you rough, it was awful. Well, we're still playing in the background. I thought I'll set a playlist running in the background. Yeah, the blood sugar probably is down to what I was eating. In the cold, fine. Apart from my legs get cold and I can't feel them. That's the trouble. I've got no sensation in my legs. I can touch them and I can feel them. Somebody taps me on the leg, I can feel it. If they run their fingers or something on my leg, even on my feet, I can feel it. But I can't feel hot or cold or pain, which is quite a good thing, because when I pulled my big toenail out of my foot, I didn't feel it. Once I realised I pulled my toenail out, I was like, because what happened? I was down underneath the desk sorting all the wiring out for the computer, and I said to Tina, I said, I'll just crawl across the floor and get on the sofa and then get back in the wheelchair. So I was doing that, and then I got on the sofa and I thought, what's all that red on the floor? I thought, that's blood day, isn't it? I was like looking all over me, because I had shorts on at the time, and I can't see where that's coming from. Anyway, turns out it was coming from my sock. So took my sock off, and my big toe was just covered in blood. But I thought my toenail was still there, and Tina says, "Where's your toenail gone?" I said, "Well, it's there, isn't it?" She said, No, it's not there. So I turned my socks inside out, and there it was, a big fat old big toenail. And once I'd realised it had come off, I knew how much that should be throbbing, and I couldn't feel it, but in my mind I was sort of like, I know that hurts, but I can't feel it. It was a bit of a weird sensation. It's all grown back now, and I think that happened because another doctor at the old house came out and she prescribed me some. I was on the atenolol, which is beta blockers, and she prescribed me some other tablets for blood pressure, and she said keep an eye on your feet because they might affect your feet. So if they affect your feet, stop it or whatever. So I started taking these pills, and that's when my toenail came out. So whether it weakened up something, didn't feel it, not at all. It took ages to grow back as well. What Tina was, she was wrapping a bandage up, but because it was like just raw, she was putting some toilet roll tubes, cutting it in half, sticking it over my big toe, and then wrapping it up. And yeah, that was going on for quite a while. Oh, socks are fine. Put them through the wash, lovely jubbly, they'll go again. No, I didn't put a hole in them. No. So yeah, when we went back to see the doctor at the rehab centre, we was talking to him about it, and he said, he says, you've got no sensation, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, well, hopefully, I mean, we have seen progress with the physio. He come out last week and he said since he's been coming, there is definite improvement in strength and what have you. I've been able to stand up at the window, pulling myself up, but being able to stand up there, obviously leaning against something. So there is strength in my legs. It's just getting on top of the exercising and bits and pieces like that. And but yeah, hopefully it'll come, but you never know, because this nerve damage is something when it all happened and that, and obviously what happens with the aorta, the blood was leaking out or whatever, and it wasn't going to all the organs. So what your body does, it starts shutting down from your extremities to keep your core sort of going. So my legs were starved of blood, which obviously starves of oxygen, and then they give off a toxin, which then floats around your body. So obviously they did the surgery, they've replaced their aorta, they've put stents on one of my kidneys, wasn't it? Both my kidneys, where your aorta goes off to your kidneys, they've put stents on them, done the things that go up into your neck. What are they called? Eh? Carotid arteries. Done that. So yeah, all this surgery, 9.5, 10 hours surgery. So of course, all the drugs they're pumping in, all the toxins that are floating around my body, then my kidneys pack up. But while this was going on, there's been some damage on the, is it medulla oblongata? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
The medulla oblongata. There's been a bit of damage. They say that's what's causing the nerve damage in my legs, because they've given me electric shocks to measure the nerve or whatever the nerves do. I couldn't feel it, but I could see the little bits of lightning. Bzz, bzz, bzz. Yeah, but it might heal itself, it might not. But I can move my legs, and they are getting stronger. But yeah, hopefully we'll get walking one day. It's just a bit of a, because when I was in the centre for about, I was in the hospital and the centre combined for 8 months. But when I was in the centre, all they was concentrating on was my arms, because this arm was nowhere near as I could hardly move this arm in the hospital. This arm I could. And then one day Tina came in and I said, "Yeah, watch this." I just went like that. Way! And that was sort of like a bit, whoa, bloody hell. So when I was in the centre, they was building up the strength in this arm, and all they was interested in me doing was transferring from the wheelchair to the bed, wheelchair to the car, wheelchair to this, that and the other. And they never even looked at my legs. They used to put electrodes on it and zap my legs. Yeah, Tina's watching Love Island. She's quite a big fan, actually.
Is she really? Nothing worse.
Yeah, there is definite improvement in the old legs. And talking of legs and clutches and pandas, I've not actually tried driving a panda yet, but I got on the tractor the other day, and that's clutch. The only trouble I've got with a clutch on the tractor is because it's so compact, and I've got bloody great feet. Well, average size feet for my physique. My boots, I was having a job to get my boots in the gap where the clutch pedal is. And but no, we managed it. But if I put my feet where it was comfortable for driving around the field, when it came to put my foot on the clutch, I could put my foot on the clutch, but my bloody foot got caught, my other leg, because you've got the brake pedals on there, and then at the back of the thing, you've got the thing for the diff lock, and I couldn't lift my foot up because it was getting caught on the diff lock lever. But yeah, we managed the clutch, so I will have a go in the Panda. We'll video it for a laugh. Yeah, with my arms, obviously when I was in intensive care, I was strapped to the bed. I sort of woke up, oh, what's going on here? That's so you don't sort of wake up and start pulling tubes out and stuff, I think. But there was talk that they said I might have had a stroke. That's right, wasn't it, Tina?
Yeah,
We weren't sure. There was no evidence of it or anything, but they said because obviously this arm wasn't working and my legs were playing about, they said it was you possibly had a stroke. And he says, "You don't talk much." I said, "Well, I don't speak French." But no, so yeah, it's just the legs. I think one of the reasons that they didn't do much with my legs, I had a massive bed sore just above my arse, which was proper deep. It was nearly to the bone, wasn't it? Are you not listening?
Sorry?
That bed sore was nearly to the bone, wasn't it?
Oh god, yeah, it was so deep.
Yeah, it was proper deep. And then there was,
When I first saw it, it was bigger than a 50p piece.
yeah. So they didn't do anything. They didn't put me in the swimming pool or anything like that. No, well, I've got to have a drive in it just to say that I've driven it. Perhaps I won't video it because then I don't want anyone to see me driving it, really. Well, Tina actually wrote him a letter. Is that letter you wrote him saying that I don't speak much?
Yeah, I said you don't speak. You're lucky to get a more than 2-word sentence out of you in English, let alone French.
Yeah, she had to write him a letter and saying that you're lucky to get a 2-word answer out of him in English, let alone French. And then I think she put down, it comes from a family. He's got a mother and 3 sisters. So if you're watching this, Mum,
She knows.
she knows already. Yeah,
If you talk about bikes or something you're interested in, it's different.
yeah. So I've never been able to get a word in edgeways really, and but if you talk about something I'm interested in, motorbikes, music, that kind of thing. You probably so yeah, that was that. I don't know. Yeah, it's all fun and games. That was back in 2016. Flipping X seems like a lifetime ago now. There you go. So we had to keep going back to see the doctor he said, "I'll come back and see me in a year." So we goes back. We've got a rendezvous to see him. He was an hour and 3/4 late. Gets in. Hello, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. Had a look all over me. He says, "No, don't think you'll ever walk again." So we came away from there thinking, "Thank you very much." Well, we'll prove him wrong. Anyway, he's rescheduled an appointment for the next year. So he goes back. He says, "Oh yeah, there's a bit of an improvement here," because I could move one of my feet a little bit. "Oh yeah, there's a bit of improvement here." Didn't say, "Oh, we'll have you back and we'll do some more work on your legs or anything." But this year we didn't bother going back because we've got a decent physio that comes to the house. Can't be doing with getting fobbed off with people that are not really interested. So, how do I wheel myself over the grass? With great difficulty. When it's dry, at the moment the rain stopped, the wind's picked up, it's dried all the ground out. It's actually, the ground's quite hard, so it's actually, it's not too bad. If I pull a wheelie, I can go forward a bit with my front wheels in the air. But once it's rained, it's just, forget it. Yeah, NHS. We had a friend of mine out here and he works in the NHS and he was singing the praises of this doctor. And I thought, that name rings a bell. And I said, "Oh, was it such and such from Peterborough?" He said, yeah, that's him. Wonderful man. And I said, "He's the biggest tosspot going." Why? Oh, he's fantastic. He's this and he's that. Well, when I crashed my motorbike, one of the occasions, I went in to hospital on the ambulance, bust collarbone. I thought I'd punctured the lung because I couldn't breathe and, oh dear. Anyway, goes in there and week later goes back and I was as rough as hell. And this doctor came out and he was like kicking off, saying, "Who put that sling on?" Because they put this sling on and my arm was hanging down and all a bit not quite right. And he says, you need one that holds your shoulder up as well. So the nurses had to sort of take that one off and really bugger me shoulder about to get this other one on. Anyway, I started going to the outpatients to see this doctor and it wasn't healing very well, my collarbone, because the ambulance crew pulled it apart like that and it was fine. But over the week that I was sent home, and over the week it started moving like that. So this bit was sort of poking out my skin, which it still is now. And anyway, I kept going back to the outpatients, and it wasn't knitting. And this doctor says, "Oh, well, we'll do this and we'll do that. We'll send you for an MRI scan." Okay. Anyway, I have an appointment to go back to see the doctor. And "Oh yes, I've looked at the film, and your MRI scan's great." He said, "It's all knitting together lovely." And I just looked at him and I said, "I've not been for an MRI scan." He said, oh, what a twat. So, yeah, his mind obviously wasn't on the job. Yeah, I'm getting the Range Rover. If I forget to drop it all the way down, it's a bit of a push. But what I do, I just come up to it, depending on which one it is. If it's the TDV8, I'll just put my right leg up into the footwell, hand on the driver's seat, hand on the door handle, and just push myself up, and I'm in. Piece of cake. In the TD6, it's just the other way around. Yeah, tosser. Don't need people like that. Know your job, mate. Yeah. I've looked at the film, and it's all fit. It's all knitting together nicely. I had to have 7 weeks off work for that. I had to go back to work in the end, and my collarbone still hadn't fixed itself. I was trying to do MOTs with one hand. I sort of tucked this arm in my boiler suit, trying to do it, one-handed. We was doing MOTs on a 4-post lift with a jack up the middle, so I was having to use 2 hands to pull the jack back, and I used to feel it moving about and sort of grinding and crunching, and oh dear, it took bloody ages for that to get right. It took a good few years for me to be able to sleep on it as well. Yeah. I don't know. I really don't know. Don't know the answer to these bloody hospitals. I think they've got too many managers and stuff. They need to get rid of them all. Funny old places, hospitals. I hate them. They all smell funny. Bloody awful. Ooh. No, not really. Mum and Dad did it when they had their first house in France. They had a gîte. Dad converted the barn into a gîte, and I think they were sort of gîtes of France, and for the first year, and then they just sort of did it off their own back after that through different firms online and stuff. I don't know. Obviously kept them going for a little bit, but it's only money through the summer months. It's very rare that you get anything sort of out of season. The French do have a longer holiday season, I think. Do they have about 8 weeks for the summer holidays, Tina? Yeah, I think the French kids have about 8 weeks in the summer. But no, I don't think we want to get in doing anything like that. It's too much hassle. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could put, as you say, a load of wooden pods, but then you got to have toilet facilities and showering facilities and stuff like that, and you're spending a lot of money before you can get any money back. We'll just stay as we are. Yeah. When we service the Panda, I'll have a look underneath and see if there's any towing points. And if there is where we can secure a tow rope, we might put a tow bar on the back of the Panda. Pretty much just for towing around here. Because the trailer we've got 750 kilos, but it's not a brake trailer, which is fine on the Range Rover. Somebody suggested that we open up a restaurant. But yeah, it's just having people at your house, isn't it? Do I have to do a takeaway? Yeah, we'll do takeaways. I could do the cooking and you can deliver it in the Panda. Oh, we might be onto something there. Eh? That'll be in a box. Eh? No, but we'll get to the bottom of that suspension. It shouldn't be that hard. Yeah, that's a plan. If only. If you ever want to do anything in France, you've got to be registered. You've got to have a Siré number. If you want to sell anything commercially or anything like that, if you want to work for someone. I don't want to break it because I'm going to have to bleed and fix it. No, my luck. The bloody axle would come off the Range Rover, not the bleeding Panda. Yes. I don't know. Right. I think I'm going to call it a night because 2 hours, 15 minutes. What I'll do is... It's a feature. Like, Chris Jackson says, "Are you sure I can't give you a hand and put up the stud wall and get rid of the hanging wire? Because it's really annoying him." Is what?
When can he get here?
Yeah. Yeah, so we had Siré numbers when we was working, but we had to cancel our entreprise, as they call it. And yeah, because I was obviously on disability benefit. When you've got a Siré number, they actually charge you a tax for working from home. Now, we was gardeners. We was never working from home. We just were based at home. So they was trying to tax us for that. So Tina kept sending a thing back saying he's disabled benefit, blah, blah, blah. You're going to have to cease your activity. But we kept it running just to make sure that it wasn't going to upset anything, if you know what I mean. So anyway, we cancelled our activities and so that's it. But yeah. It's a lot of funny rules and regulations over here. So yeah, I'm going to call it a night. I'll put a community post out and see how often people want me to do a live stream, whether I do it once a month or once a week or whatever. I will get to the Range Rover lights this week, hopefully. So yeah, I'm going to knock it on the head for tonight. It's been nearly 2.5 hours. So yeah, I'll put a thing in the community post just asking how often people want me to... what does the thing say on the wall? What wall? There's some writing on this wall in front of me. Are you on about that there? That stuff? I think that's glue. Because that's like backing paper stuck onto the wall, and then there was wallpaper on top of that. But up here, there's some writing. When the bloke decorated, he wrote down a date, something of January 1986, while he was wallpapering. It was snowing. So, there you go. No, that's all got to come up. We were stripping all that off, but because we're going to put a stud wall up there, I thought, well, we'll forget that. But there is a big crack in the wall over there, which we've got to deal with. Just make sure it ain't going to... It's not moved any, so it'll probably be all right as it is. But yeah, as I was saying, I'll put something in the community post, just asking how often people would want me to do this live stream. You know, I don't do anything else on a Sunday night, so it doesn't bother me in the slightest. But it's good to get people participating, as it were. And but if I do it once a month, I'd have more to talk about. But if people want to do it a bit more often, yeah, we'll get Tina on the paintbrush. She's good at cutting in. She doesn't like the roller, so corking, yeah. So I think I shall call it a night, and twice a week. Flipping heck. So we've got down to 3 viewers now, so there's just 3 of you watching. So I shall sign off, and for now I'll say I'll be back next week, but I will put a thing out and just see how it goes. Yeah, she's good at the low work. She can reach that. Well, there is that, I suppose. So that's it from me. Hang on, let me just try this. Oh, look. Little plug for the old website there. Free Sadax. Well. So yeah, it's been a good one again tonight. Plenty of questions. That's what we like. And I'm going to sign off and see what Tina's up to in the other room. So yeah, thanks for coming. And we'll catch you in the next live stream. Bye for now. Oh, end. End.